You already know what it is. Come on. Yeah. Woo.
The hottest hits.
Hot 106.
Let me tell you something. We have been privileged to have so many WWE superstars and so many great events here in Providence. But this one feels big. This one feels huge, and that's because we have the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, here with us. WrestleMania, 3 weeks away. Cody, how does it feel to be here in Providence?
Oh, I'm beyond excited. I feel bad. I feel like I screwed up your intro because I was pulling the mic to me, and then I could hear like every little step of the way. You guys can hear me though, right?
Oh, we can hear you loud and clear. Absolutely.
So, like, first order of business is I'm in the car on the way here, and I thought the legendary name of the building was the Dunk. And now it's Amica Mutual, right?
Yes, it is. It's the Amp now.
The Amp.
It's the Amp.
Ooh, I like that.
So,
okay, now I feel a lot better about it.
Cody, let me ask you this, and I don't know if you're going to remember. We're going years back now. We had Sheamus in here, oh my God, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Mania, I think it was leading up to Mania 29 back in New York. And there was a moment where he laughed. He thought of the Dunk, and he laughed.
He knows the story.
Is this a story that you could tell? Because I've been waiting to hear the story for 10 years.
Yeah, I'll have to kind of, there's parts that have to be cleaned up, but I'll essentially tell you how this went down. There's a legendary wrestler / now he's a producer, VP, writer, all kinds of things, Michael Hayes, Freebird Michael Hayes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And Michael Hayes was in charge of whatever I was doing that night. I believe it was a 3-segment tag match, meaning live TV, or in this case, I think it was tape, but 3 segments need to be filled by whatever the heck we're doing. And I don't know if it was just in being young and arrogant and braggart. He asked me what we were going to do out there, and I legitimately snorted pre-workout to be funny. Pre-workout to be like funny, and I don't know what I was thinking. It was a very strong pre-workout.
Oh, I can imagine.
Very dumb. But I did it, and I told them, I was like, it doesn't matter what we do out there. I remember saying we're going to tear the roof off this place. We're going to tear the roof off this place. It's kind of famous last words. And,
oh, boy. Moments before disaster.
Yeah, and then disaster struck because in the first segment of the 3 segments, one guy got kicked below the waist twice. Boy. That was Bad News Barrett. He tried real hard to get back to where we were, got kicked in the, again. And then the next thing you know, Daniel Bryan hits a drop kick in the corner, and Ted DiBiase Jr. gets pinned, doesn't get up. 1, 2, 3, and so now that's in one segment.
That's one segment.
2 segments on television that we're supposed to do something in. And there was a lot of frustration. I rolled to the outside, realizing this is probably the worst match in the history at the time of the Dunk. I rolled to the outside, and I'm trying to salvage it. I told the guy next to me, "Hey, we should go in there and jump him. Let's jump him. Let's jump him, right? Let's get it back. Let's jump him.
We're tearing the roof off,
right?" By the time I finished saying that, he was so angry. I turned to look back where I was talking. He was already marching to the back. Bad News Barrett, furious over this terrible segment. So I'm like, okay, well, we're not jumping him. Then I watched the back, and there's the chairman of the board. There's Vince standing up, headset off. You know you're in trouble.
Yep.
And Ted, who thought he kicked out, he looked at him, and he said, before Vince could yell at us, he said, "Where is that referee?"
Ooh.
And then this is the part I got to clean up. He said, "He was trying to F on us." And the way he worded it was just everyone was staring at him. And then there's no justice in this because then the referee, Rod Zapata, is still at WWE. He's a great referee. Vince called him over, said, "Hey, ref, you're totally out of position. You're out of position here," right? He's validating Ted. And Rod said, I know, sir, but on covers that face the hard camera, I can't block the hard cam.
Oof.
Vince put his headset back on. He said, "Yeah, you're right." Sat back down. Ted was just stewing.
Yeah.
Wade's punching the wall. I had just told Michael we're going to tear the roof off. Michael staring at me, shaking his head. And then the worst part of it all, and the worst match I ever had in the history of my time with WWE, the worst part of it all was we thought they'd edit it a little bit. Like, they'll edit it.
Right.
I watched it all happen back.
Oh, no.
It's like somebody in the office said, "You know what, let these young guys just know they suck," right? They're not tearing the roof off. But I made up for it when I came back for Backlash last time I was here at the Amp.
Mm-hmm.
At the amp.
At the amp. Yes.
I made up for it.
We're still programming ourselves to say too.
I had a great match with Seth Rollins. I was able to put him down, so that I feel slightly. Every time I come here, I have to give at a high level, have to deliver because of the incident in the past.
Well, you first of all, thank you so much for telling me that story because, like I said, this has been 10 years in the making. I've been waiting to hear this, and I wasn't sure if it was ever going to be able to be told. So thank you for that. But you are back in Providence tonight, like you said. You were here for Backlash, and it just feels so big. The electricity, you could feel it. You could feel it through the city. Monday Night Raw is going to be at the Amp tonight. All the big faces are going to be there. But you're coming in hot off of a SmackDown where you and Sammy kind of. Maybe sent a little message. Now, do you think that got back to the big dog?
I think everything gets back to the big dog. I think there's probably this preconceived notion that our champion Roman Reigns just sits at home and watches different programming, or he's on a beach somewhere, or he's doing something in Hollywood. He's somebody that doesn't take long. I mean, I shook his hand and found out right away. Doesn't take long to realize he loves this. Mm-hmm. He does. He's in a position where maybe not everyone loves him, but he loves this. He definitely understands everything that's going on. The family, Solo, both Oots, Mr. Heyman himself, that family is a real family, which is one of the things that makes this story really unique heading into WrestleMania. This is very real. Two families in wrestling, two families in sports entertainment, and he's really got his due. 800-something days as champion, and 900 maybe now, heading for 1,000, and to line that up. But yeah, I'm sure everything got back to him. I'm sure also what got back to him is I got myself in the best shape of my career, which means you look good under your shirt, but I also couldn't get my shirt off in the middle of us fighting. So Buddy got a bunch of shots in on me. It was a mess. Oof. You got to take your cuffs before you throw down. You got to get rid of your cuffs, guys. I wasn't just
rip them right out.
Yeah, you got to. It's the first thing you got to do, then the tie. But yeah, some SmackDown viewers once again got a chuckle at my amateur hour moment. But it's still, be out there with Sammy to feel it. Look at the crowds are just, it's not just Mania season. Something in the air.
Yeah.
The crowds are unreal lately, and I expect the same thing tonight.
Now, tell me a little bit about that, though, because we saw Cena come out last week and kind of give you the rub, and just, he had a great quote.
You're a wrestling fan, huh?
I am a wrestling fan. Yeah, I am.
The rub.
Kind of, you letting my smart, not smart.
That's all right, man. It's this early in the morning. It's helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
about. Thank you.
No, of course. And he had a great. You had a great quote that you tweeted from him. Reward their noise every time. I feel like it's been kind of just a natural thing for you between you and Sammy and kind of this whole build-up basically since the Rumble. What has that been feeling like for you? Put yourself, think about where you were even just a year ago and seeing where you are now. Tell us that feeling.
I mean, the Garden last night was a pretty good indication of it, and I'm really happy I got a documentary team that is working. They've been working a long time on my documentary since I came back at WrestleMania. I told them yesterday, as annoying as they have been in terms of they're in your face all the time, I'm so glad they're there because they're covering these moments. And it's important because I'm doing everything I can. Roman's main evented 7 WrestleManias, whatever it might be. This is his first rodeo, right? I don't want it to seem like it's mine.
Right.
So I'm doing it is, though. It is.
It is.
I was Stardust, 7 years ago or whatever it was, and that was an enhancement talent. And then the next thing you know, I went out in the wilderness and we shook things up. And me and the boys' statement was change the world. What we meant was change the wrestling world. We did that.
You did. You first of all, you absolutely did that.
Well, so now here we are back, and everything is special. I mean, that's why I get choked up as often as I get choked up, and people don't understand, and I don't expect them to. Living in my shoes has been so blessed. Again, had you asked the guy who was in that story I told you about earlier, I would have told you I should be in the main event. I'm this, I'm that, with a braggart, different sense of it. You asked me today, I'm lucky, I'm beyond blessed. It could have been Sammy, could have been Drew, could have been Seth Rollins, but it's me. And to get the opportunity to go on last at Mania, to get the opportunity to speak to these crowds after these shows and send them home happy, to make these visits to places that I didn't get to during my excursion, like Providence. It's just, I try to take one moment every day to not pretend I'm that cool and just know, this might be it. This might be the best it ever is. Who knows what we're doing next year?
Right.
This might be the best it ever is, and that I'm very proud of.
Well, the good news is, Cody, is you are very cool. So you have that moment. So I don't know if that means anything coming from me at all, but I hope that I speak for all of the WWE universe and just wrestling fans in general.
I appreciate you mentioned Cena the other moment. That was a dang good.
Well, it doesn't get much bigger than that.
No, and also I don't know if people know, like before he got his bus, before he became a big bus guy, I drove his ass around for 2 years. And
no way.
Yeah, and he drove once, and that's all he ever needed to drive. He was the top guy. But I got such a great education, and he didn't look at it that way. He just were having a good time, telling me, here's my merch numbers for tonight. I could always spy on him when he was on the phone. Yeah. Talking to the boss or whatever it was. He just was a great leader, and he's not mean. He's just direct, and he was very direct with Austin Theory, which maybe needed to hear. But he told me the other day, how excited he was to be on WrestleMania, and I was thinking, you're excited to be on a WrestleMania that I'm headlining.
Yep.
And that's how it should be. What you told me wasn't for naught. It was real and valued, and I just want to continue that because this is just one. So I want to kind of continue to make him proud. I'll tell you a little pride. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. We're going off. It doesn't matter. You're here.
We popping off?
Yeah. Actually, do we have any sponsors, any ads we got to get to, Jim? Here.
Yeah, because if not, we're going to...
You got time to stick around a little bit longer?
Yes.
I love that. Cody, well, we're going to come back. We have, first of all, this has already been an amazing interview, probably my favorite ever. We got Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, leading up to rest. There, you hit the hype button. On top of that, we got more with Cody Rhodes coming up. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, I think you know that voice, you know that music. We have the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, in the building ahead of Monday Night Raw tonight at the Amp. You're going to want to be there. It's a packed show. I mean, they top to bottom. Monday Night Raw in general has just been on fire. WWE has been on fire. And 2023, really, since the beginning of 2022, has been just a fire season for Cody Rhodes. Now, you're heading into WrestleMania this year. This isn't your first WrestleMania, but it's definitely the biggest one that you've been a part of because, well, you are main eventing. You're going against the big dog, who is 900-plus days at the top, right? He's got his whole family. He's got the bloodline. These guys are just dripping in gold. Give us a little bit of insight of where your head is at right now, less than 3 weeks away from the big show.
Really, it's about being present for me. However you look at what we do in pro wrestling and sports entertainment, whether you look at it as entertainment or whether you look at it as sport, it's this balance and it's this fine line. And as an athlete, particularly one who's coming back from an injury still, even though I'm cleared and rocked and ready to roll, as an athlete, I want to make sure no stone is unturned. So I want to do everything I possibly can to just get there. So every day I got to not think, there's some people who are like, hey, visualize what that could be like, winning the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, visualize walking the ring in SoFi in Hollywood, West Coast Mania, night 2, going on last, sun's coming down, visualize it. Great, I can do that, but I also got to be here.
Right.
You mentioned like we're at the Amp tonight, and I have to be present for that. Because that's what's gotten me to this point. I can't at this point just coast. You mentioned tonight being a special show. My best friend in the business, Matt Cardona, his wife Chelsea Green, she's wrestling tonight. I'm excited for that. Edge and the Finn Balor situation continues. Brock Lesnar, who Brock is one of my absolute favorite. Him and Omos being able to stand off or whatever it is. In addition to that, it's a 3-hour show. And they say I'm going to be there. We got to figure out what I'm doing. And I know there's a guest from SmackDown coming. That being LA Knight, I think, is flirting with the idea of being here. I mean this with the utmost sincerity. I like fighting and wrestling, blood in the mouth. That's how I do. I'm not a less is more type. I think if he would like to make that transition from SmackDown to Raw, I'd love to stand across from him in the ring. That's not official yet by any means, but maybe we can make it happen. But yes, heading into Mania, as present can be, and I want to keep it that way. Unbelievable team around me. Your career grows so big you can't call it your own anymore, and I just have the best team of people around me. He's got the bloodline. He's got all that. Mine are all behind the scenes, but That's how it should be. Dusty is not with us anymore. Chicken, my brother Dustin, is wrestling over at the other joint. And when we get to Mania, it's just me. Mm-hmm. And just me needs to be enough.
And it has been, especially these past 5-6 years. You absolutely shifted the game. And I think it was at a time where it needed to be shifted, right? And I think we can all agree on that. We could pull back the curtain a little bit. Competition fuels, creativity, it fuels passion, and you went off and did your own thing, and you and your, like you said, a couple of your pals put together this other wrestling show, and nobody expected it to be as successful as it was, and well, sure enough, it was, and now we're here. Just explain that a little bit, because we know we had your return last year at WrestleMania, the injury, your return at the Rumble, you win the Rumble.
Yeah, I got lucky, number 30.
I mean,
I thought I was going to be number 1.
Doesn't always mean winning, though.
No, it doesn't.
30 doesn't always mean winning.
2 is like the spot people win from a bunch. 30, though, oof. Yeah.
It's like the Iron Man is like the winner usually at the Royal Rumble. But regardless, you made it work at number 30, and now we're heading into the main event. Bring us back to the end of the Rumble. Where was your head at then? Because at that point, you still had a decision to make.
The Rumble, so there are these things that's one, for example, everything right now I can kind of cruise and try to be cool with, but winning the Royal Rumble. Shawn Michaels is a former Royal Rumble winner, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
3 times. John
Cena, exactly. Like winning the Rumble is massive. And the next day I'm doing this signing for the Fitterman Sports Group. I'm signing, and everyone wants you to write Royal Rumble winner. And in a paint pen, that's a mess. But I was all about it.
That's got to be pretty cool.
That is right. That's what I was kind of saying earlier. Like, listen, you're going into WrestleMania and you want to win. You want to win. It's about wins and losses. So the old luminary legend guys, it's not about wins and losses. Well, you weren't saying that when you were in it. It's about wins and losses. I want to win so bad. But that's one where, gosh, that one can't be taken away from you. And a lot of this run is about stop taking stuff away from me, right? I told you I was this good and you didn't believe it, and I went out in the wilderness, and me, Matt, Nick, Kenny, the whole crew started something super special. Now everyone's getting paid buku bucks. Mm-hmm. That's probably the best byproduct of it all, is the healthy economics of the game, which we helped lean into. That's another thing. Like, we did that. Can't take that away from me. But the thing you want is the chip. You want the title. You want the belt. You want the big one. And that's the last thing. It's something that Dusty never got, Chicken never got, and just for me, that's I just want to keep adding to that. You ever seen the movie Remember the Titans?
Of course.
Everyone's seen it.
Of course, yeah.
Right? Remember the Titans plays in my house a lot because there's a part in it where he says, "Run it up, Herman. Leave no doubt."
Yep.
And I just watched my Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know how everyone feels here.
That's fine.
I watched them run it up in SoFi and leave no doubt. And that's really how I feel about. I got tired of pro wrestling insiders who I have no disregard for. They're very important to my career because they've helped me as well. But I got tired of them trying to point to other people. No, it's this guy. No, it's this guy. Oh, he did a little. But this revisionist outlook on my career, it can't be revisionist when you've got things next to your name like Royal Rumble winner. So 100%. So as much as I try to be like a happy and excited person, you can still feel it. It's still, there's a lot of venom and there's a chip on the shoulder that I'd love to replace with the championship.
Well, there's been multiple lineage of families and wrestling families that have come and gone and that have tried to do some of the things that you've done. And if it was as easy as you made it look at times, then we'd have a million Cody Rhodes. But we only have one. And there was only one Cody Rhodes that had that chip on his shoulder, that went out on his own and said, you know what? I'm going to do this on my own, and you sure enough did, and I cannot wait. I think, obviously, it's pretty obvious you have a fan in me here. We're in your corner. Hit the hype button, and I wish I had another hour to speak with you because there's so many more things I'd like to get to, but I do want to get to this point. Let's fast forward 3 weeks, and I know you mentioned you've had to vision yourself there at SoFi, sun setting. You've had to vision, putting yourself in that main event ring, but what is next? If you climb to the top, if you get that chip off of your shoulder, right? If you get what your father Dusty wasn't able to get, although he gave us so much, if you are able to get there, what is next for Cody Rhodes?
I'd like to be not unlike I mentioned earlier. I like wrestling every week, and I think the WWE, this isn't knocking the way Roman has dealt with it, but Roman has been a champion that's not been as present. It's been special when he shows up. I think every town deserves that, and I'm last night in MSG. Tonight at the Amp, on Saturday I'll be in Milwaukee, Sunday Springfield. The thing that's missing is the championship. It's missing from the live events. It's missing from every market you go to. So definitely don't want to get cart before horse, but I'll say if that happens, which I want it to happen and I've worked for it to happen, that belt, that championship is going everywhere, and it's going to see some places that it hasn't seen, and it's going to be a different type of schedule. Paul Heyman, Mr. Heyman, thinks that schedule scares me. I've been waiting for that schedule my whole life, buddy. I've been waiting. It doesn't scare me one bit.
And you know what? It doesn't scare us to see you here. We are so excited. Monday Night Raw going down tonight at the Amp. Tickets still available. You got to go get them. Trust me. First of all, WWE always shuts it down when they're in the city. Providence loves WWE.
Except that one time. I told you that story.
Except for that one time. But you know what? We'll blame the snorting the pre-workout.
That's so stupid.
And I would not recommend anybody doing that ever again.
No.
But definitely a great story, and I'm so thankful I finally heard it, because that's like, talk about a chip off your shoulder. I mean, I feel like I just released one of mine.
Yeah.
Cody, thank you so much, man. Seriously,
Thank you. Absolute pleasure, my friend.
It was an absolute pleasure to have
sir.
you in, and I hope it's not the last time. We got more coming up. Keep it here.
You already know what it is. Come on. Yeah.
The hottest hits.
Hot 106.